but this is Mike Hale.
Yeah. Y'all met me before. I'm gonna go. There's a lot of stuff in here. I'm not going to go into any great detail on it, but I wanted to include it in the slides so that you have it as a reference for later. This is not about WordPress. Obviously, we wanted to save the best for last. So, that's me. Start a picture of me. I do software development, .NET developer, WordPress developer. Here's how you can find me. I'm a contributing developer to Scribe SEO, which I'll talk about at the very end here, which is an SEO tool for WordPress and stuff. I'm just going to talk about what WordPress does for SEO, built in, what the frameworks will do for it, and some plugins and add-ons that give you additional SEO benefits. I'm not going to go into much SEO. I think we've all got a basic understanding about it. I'm assuming you know the best practices and stuff already. You know, we'll talk about it in a little detail, but I'm not going to make you a ninja. That's a ninja. It's so much better on this one. All right. Built-in WordPress, straight out of the box, default WordPress gives you some good SEO benefits. Because WordPress was built for blogging, SEO has kind of been baked into it from the very beginning. It's very search engine friendly. The way the pages are structured, the way it handles the links. Matt Cutts, Google, 5 years ago said that WordPress, as far as the structural stuff of SEO goes, covers about 80 to 90%. That's still true, if not more. For example, your page title, and we talked a lot about page titles and HTML titles. I'll call this the headline. This is what you put your title of your post is. You know, it's an H1 tag. It'll use the same page title. The headline is your HTML title. When you upload images, if you put in a title tag or an alt tag, it automatically includes them for you. So the on-page, actual structural stuff, it covers for you. The permalinks, there's a couple options to do it. You'll see a lot of sites will have the site name / 2014 / 1 / 22 / and then the post name. That's kind of the older way of doing it. There were some performance issues with WordPress when you did just the post name that people recommended not doing just the post name, but those numbers don't really mean anything. Google didn't care about them. They're not needed. The most often suggested is to just have the post name as your permalink or category / post name. I don't do category / post name because if I have a keyword, it's going to be in my post or the URL on its own. One thing that you can do is, there's two parts WordPress is concerned with the URLs. There's the site address, which is pretty much your domain, and then the link, the actual permalink that's going to take you to the page. You can edit that post name, which they call it a slug. You can kind of see it down there at the bottom, down here. You can edit this. By default, this is going to be r-u-make-, and so on. But you can just take that down to what you want. The nice thing about that is you can have keywords in your URL that you might not have as part of your page title. The other thing is the canonical links. If you have different ways of getting to the same page, all these 5 addresses are going ultimately to the same page. As far as Google's concerned, these are different addresses. These are different pages. To some extent. Okay, not 100%, but what WordPress automatically will do is add up in the header tags a rel canonical tag, which says this is the URL. This is the one all of these should count for. So if you go to any of these, it's always going to consolidate that. So you're not going to share your link juice around pages. The other nice thing that WordPress does is if you're linking to internal links, which is another page or a post that you have, you can search for it. It'll add the title. It'll add it right there. Because internal links is important to SEO, probably a little underused. That's out of the box. I'm coming on the tail end of a cold, so I'm going to pretty much talk until my voice goes. The themes and frameworks that you build, that you use on top of WordPress, often have additional SEO benefits to them. I use the Genesis framework, which is Studio Press themes. I'm a Genesis guy, but Woo themes, Theme Fusion, all the big theme shops, frameworks will give you some additional SEO options in there, like being able to set the HTML title versus the headline on the page, giving you a chance to put in a meta description. The Genesis 2.0, most of their themes are responsive, and then a lot of times they'll give you a little more options about what you can set for your details. So the samples I'm going to show you are Genesis themes, but like I said, most of the other ones will do it as too. That's the first one. Is it will let me put in a custom document title. That's actually what gets in the head tag is the HTML title. That's the HTML title. What I put as my post title that shows up on the page in the H1 tag, that's the headline. They could be completely different. You may want to have in your HTML title a variation of a keyword or a keyword phrase that doesn't make sense grammar-wise in English.
I had a question about that. In Drupal, is that one and the same? Because in Drupal, it's like this too.
Yeah, we do the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, by default.
You've got a post title and a page title, both.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, by default, it'll use your post title, your headline one, as the title, and then that's what it uses in the service for the description. WordPress doesn't have that out of the box, but like I said, most of the frames do. Responsive design, it uses CSS queries to shape your site depending on the browser. That's what Google recommends, actually. If you have, m.mysite.com or mysite.com/mobile, if you do the canonical URLs, that can help you with your SEO, so that you don't have searches being split between your full site and your mobile site. Some of the other things that Genesis framework does that the other ones do is you can set no follow, no index, no archive per page, on each page or on each post. One reason you'd want to do no follow is, I don't know if you all were watching this last week, but Matt Cutts basically came out and said that guest blogging, as far as an SEO benefit of it, is dead. They consider a spamming practice now. So if you have guest bloggers on a site, you want to no-follow them, or it's going to bring your site down. So that's one where you might say, if I'm publishing a blog and somebody has a guest post, I want to set no-follow for the links on that, on that page for that post for them. Some of the other things that we'll do is I can set a custom canonical page. So if it's not the default one, I can't ever think of a situation where you would, but you could. You could do the Google authorship, which is a big piece, which I'm not going to get into because it's in there. And then at a site level, you can put no follow, no archive on things like archives, so like your tag archive. So if I click on a tag and I get that list, I don't want that to be, indexed. I don't want that to count because it's going to be duplicate content. So you can set it by type of what you don't want to have indexed. And then like breadcrumb navigation. Breadcrumb navigation is can give you a nice little boost. One thing that Genesis framework does is it has Schema.org microdata baked right into it. The newer themes are calling it Pro themes now, HTML5 based, and have schema. What Schema.org metadata is it basically is you're putting semantic markup inside your code that tells Google what it is. So if you ever go and you see search results and there's reviews, you see the stars, or there's an event and you see details about the event, that's done with Schema.org markup. They have one for blog posts, so that's included right there. And there's just some sample code. You can see the item prop, item scope, item type. You're telling Google what type of page this is. There's some event plugins for WordPress that will put that microdata in there too. Some of the free SEO plugins, Google XML Sitemaps. We talked about sitemaps. They do basically the same things. There's a plugin that you could do to redirects, and then there's WordPress SEO by Yoast. So XML Sitemaps do the same things. They'll create your sitemap file, notify Google and Bing if you have updates. You can customize the priorities and the frequencies of the updates and everything on those. Simple 301 redirects. The nice thing about this one is if you've ever changed that permalink structure from 2014/1/22 to just the post name, every link to your site is dead and you're starting over as far as your search rankings are concerned. You can set a redirect for each of those. It'll be a 301 permanent redirect, and you can do it by code. So you can say actually year, month, num, and it'll recognize that as a format and change it to just post name. Or you can put specific URLs to go to one to the other. I had an older blog, and I wasn't really doing much on it, but there was some good content on it that had ranked fairly well. So I moved it to my new site, and then I did a 301 redirect on the old site to save some of that ranking.
This is a good way you can pull like a Blogger blog into WordPress. You just use this tool, and it makes all your old Blogger links work.
Except you can't set 301s on Blogger.
No, but if you had a Blogger site, then you migrate to WordPress, which is what I did. You use this tool, and then all your old links into the old Blogger, discontinued Blogger site now work in your WordPress site.
Yep. Yeah, as long as you brought the domain over. WordPress SEO by Yoast is probably the most common, and it's very powerful. It does basically the XML sitemaps. It doesn't do 301 redirects right in there, but you can access and edit the htaccess file and the robots.txt file. It's 7.8 million downloads of it, and it does all the features that the frameworks do to give you your title and your meta description, and that's included in there as well. These are screen captures of the WordPress SEO plugin. It's free. What you do is you put the keyword that you're trying to target, your SEO title and your meta description. It'll give you some information about if that keyword's in there or not, give you a snippet of what your search engine results should look like. And then the page analysis one tells you what's good and what's bad. Like on this one, I haven't used that word in any H2. I have it in the H1, but I don't have it in any subheadings. There's no images on the page, which technically is true, but there's a featured image. Oh no, it's not on that one. And again, red, yellow, and green is red are the things that are bad, yellow are the things that you might want to adjust, and the greens are the things that you're doing good. And it has in there that my keyword densities. I have a link early in the page. My keywords are included early in the page, which are all ranking factors. If that's not enough for you, this Scribe Content Marketing is a WordPress plugin. It's an SEO tool. There's a WordPress plugin. I've worked on the web version and the API that the WordPress plugin calls. There's also a version for MS Word. It'll tie into if you're using all-in-one or all-in-one Platinum SEO, WordPress SEO. It'll pull your titles and tags. So it works with a lot of those plugins. What it does is it will take a look at when you analyze a page, it does a page score and a site score. The site score, it actually uses the Moz tool as one of its sources for how your page and domain ranks for those terms. So this is kind of a next level of keywords in that it'd say, okay, this page is optimized, but how is your site optimized for these keywords? Because it used to be, if you had the keywords and your site was a high-ranking site, you would show up for those keywords. Or they got to be if those keywords simply apply to your site, they went lower in the rankings. Because you could have something completely off topic, you're not an authority on that. So this will show you the site score. So you see on my site, I have marketing strategy, business content, your content are good, the rest aren't. So it's 55. 55 is not a great score. And it does this by looking at what the keywords are. The rank is, these are good keywords. These are something that's searched for a lot. And then my page score was 100, meaning everything on my page I had followed all the rules. And it's kind of like the report that the Yoast plugin gives you in that, these are the things that you need to work on. These were the things that you did good on the page. So it does the two levels, the site and the page score. Finally, I told you I'd get through it quick. Some of the things that you could do is, page speed is a ranking factor. I would say, it's probably worry about it like 1% for your SEO and the rest just for usability. But to improve the performance is you can use the W3 Total Cache plugin, which is a caching plugin. There's two real popular caching plugins for WordPress. There's WP Super Cache and W3 Total Cache, and you'll get an argument from any user of the one. W3 total cache is very powerful and configurable, but you can really screw your site up and make it a lot worse and slow it down with the caching tool. WP Super Cache isn't as powerful, but it's easier to configure, and it's less likely to screw it up. Those are kind of the two arguments. I use W3 Total Cache. You can use a Content Delivery Network, CDNs. There's Mac CDN, Amazon CloudFront, Cloudflare. All of those have WordPress plugins that you can plug into your WordPress site, and it'll talk to the CDN. And what that is, if you have like the jQuery script or your images, those are stored on the CDN so that when people come to it, they're getting a cached copy. Your site will go quicker. WP Squish It is an interesting little plugin. It'll optimize your images to get your overall site to load faster. My understanding of the way that the page speed works is that it's more important to Google the time to first byte. So when they make the request, how long until they're actually getting something back from your web server. And then second to that is how long does it take your entire page to load. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's kind of my understanding of it. So when you use something like caching, that your site is not chugging through and hitting the database and running through all the WordPress code like you were saying with Joomla, how it does. It comes back pretty quick. Finally, the best thing that you can do to speed up your site is use WordPress Managed Hosting. Web Synthesis is good. That's what I put my clients on. WP Engine is good. I haven't used them, but they're very respectable. Impressible, which used to be ZippyKit, I have a couple sites on. They have a nice one. You get 5 sites for $25 a month or 10 sites for $50 a month. So it works out to about $5 a site, which is good. GoDaddy, our favorite, just entered the managed WordPress hosting. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Now, I'll give it to them. They're kind of trying to, turn it around over there. But maybe, managed WordPress hosting is not a business that they want to be in because they'll manage, 3,000 sites on your server. But it's managed. They managed to get that many on your server. Yeah. At the end, I have here's all the links to the different things we talked about. Again, really what Drupal does and what Joomla does, SEO does, it's just with different plugins or with what's built into the framework. Like I said, I'll have these on if there's any questions. If not, we're good. Yes?
I just installed a new website using WordPress and Genesis framework, and I didn't know that it's a lot faster.
Faster than
speed.
Oh. Yeah, I mean Genesis framework is real. They're built for performance. They're a premium theme. I mean, you're getting your money's worth.
Genesis framework is a theme.
Genesis framework. The way WordPress works is you have WordPress straight out of the box. You can run it, and they have a theme that sits on top of it. So what a framework is in WordPress is it's basically a theme. But there's a lot of code built into it. And then you can build a theme as a child theme off of that framework. So when you build a Genesis child theme, you have to have Genesis on there, but what it does is it gives you like a toolbox built in. And then you build your theme and you customize the child themes, they call it.
It's very similar to using Omega. But I do have one question that I can't find the answer to. Is from SEO standpoint, your link, what's it better to use a / or not use it?
At the end,
Of a link?
the way I understood having slash at the end of your permalink was, if it was a directory, the way the browser used to work was if it was a directory, it would go and it wouldn't go, and then if you had the slash, it knew it was a directory. As far as the permalinks are concerned, I don't think it really has that much of a difference on SEO. Having that canonical URL is good because if you have, my link was 5 podcasting mistakes. That's one page, and 5 podcasting mistakes / WordPress is going to take you to the same page. So as long as that built into WordPress, it's like version 2 point something. that canonical link has been in there, so it's not really an issue on the WordPress one. So I don't think you're really going to see any impact, if you have it or if you don't have it. I could be wrong, but all right.